The well-advertised arrival of cold air in Pennsylvania is underway, and there's no need to blame the media's new favorite boogeyman, the polar vortex. Instead, let's just do a bit of forensic meteorology and go back a couple days and find the source of the cold air. Now, back on Sunday, the core of the cold air mass, basically the center of Arctic high pressure, central pressure 1,036 millibars, was over Victoria Island in the northern Canadian Northwest Territories, where the sun today only got about 2 degrees above the horizon. So this is an ideal place for a huge volume of air to get really cold. By Monday, the center of the high had moved south to the border with Alberta, and the central pressure increased, maxing out yesterday around 1,050 millibars. Now, generally, the higher the pressure, the more intense the cold, and that pressure would be impressive even in January. The center of the high just entered the lower 48 states earlier today through Montana, and from there, it will take about 3 days to reach the East Coast, losing some bite out of its chill along the way. But there's more where that came from. Already, new high pressure is recharging in the same general source region, and by tomorrow, its center will be near Victoria Island again. It too will head south and strengthen, entering the lower 48 again in the northern Rockies on Saturday, then continuing south and east. Now, the paths of these two centers of surface high pressure reveal the upper air flow on the east side of the huge ridge that has popped up along the west coast. And one more Arctic high will likely follow this same general path next week. Now, the cold front that marked the leading edge of the first Arctic air mass has provided some stunning visuals. On this chart of the U.S. from late on Monday, the colorful striations trace the wind, and the cold front is found where those striations appear to come together or converge. That would be the zone stretching from the western Great Lakes southwestward, then back into the central Rockies. These images taken on Monday at the University of Colorado in Boulder, about 20 miles northwest of Denver, show the transition from 64 and sunny at 9 a.m. on the left to 27 and snowing less than 4 hours later on the right. The strong winds immediately behind the cold front whipped up a large dust storm that looked like this from the air. The leading edge of the dust literally is the cold front, and the dust outlines the advancing colder air mass. This haboob, as it's called, could even be seen from space on this visible satellite loop from Monday afternoon. You can see the dust being picked up in southeastern Colorado and then moved south, eventually into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles and northeastern New Mexico. In large part because the Arctic high entered the U.S. so far to the west in Montana and then headed into the southern plains, this first batch of cold air took the scenic route to Pennsylvania. But will that be the case next week? Paul will have the details in the extended forecast next.